It's valid. They threatened us, so we have to show some force around our bases. What? They threatened us, so we have to show some force around our bases? Are you British? God, it's so funny. Dude, that's awesome. Okay? Being a British guy that's like, no, we must also get involved in this is fucking awesome. Hilarious.
Iran and Israel.
Yeah. No, we're like little America. You don't understand. I think people underestimate just how vile and destructive the UK's role in the world remains. And Starmer epitomizes that. It's a faded imperial power and subservient to the US, no doubt, but it is still delighted to use its remaining military power in despicable ways whenever it can, as UK moves just to the Middle East after the Iran threat. UK engaging in this kind of military movement is a direct threat. That is why they're doing it. They're saying, you know, we're gonna put our numbers on the board. We also have a stake in this, just like the United States of America. The intra-GOP fight over Israel strikes on Iran. There is no real GOP fight happening here, for the record. I don't think there's a lot of internal conflict. I don't even think there's any internal conflict between the Democrats and the Republicans on this. All of this is just palace intrigue that is being whipped up so that people have the notion of like a democratic process. It's not. These sorts of things, foreign policy, military conquest, this sort of stuff is uniparty. And it's not just uniparty for America. It's literally the same reason why Tony Blair and David Cameron are also uniparty and Keir Starmer and the Tory governments, Labor governments, doesn't matter. Like, they all are aligned on this. Every European country is also aligned on this. The amount of support that they will show varies. Their response varies, but overall, most of the shit is almost all done in unison. I do not think the Israelis will stop. An Arab diplomat tells me, this is Akbar Shahid Ahmed from Huffington Post, saying several governments are trying to coordinate de-escalation with the U.S., but Israel is convinced its goals are being met, including dragging in American troops. Growing concern about Iran striking in the Gulf, which risks deadly, unintended, and spiraling consequences. What is this? Do you know if American bunker busters are able to destroy the centrifuges at Natanz and Fordo? I know those nuclear sites are impervious to conventional bombs because they're inside mountains. Their operation humiliated Iran, but I don't think they thwarted Iran's nuclear program at all. I don't think so, but I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how fucking. I mean, they say that it's like under rocks that are that even bunker buster bombs are not supposed to be able to penetrate. They would have to routinely hit it. It's hundreds of yards deep. Like, they would have to hit it over and over and over again. And they can only do that with under rocks law. No, it is literally. I think a lot of you guys fail to comprehend that rocks and dirt are still quite literally the most successful ways of stopping artillery and munitions. When you build something under bedrock in the fucking side of a goddamn mountain, guys, the F was literally not even a microsecond, please. Yeah, Earth is the greatest shield against American munitions or just munitions in general. Breaking, Oman's foreign minister announces that the 6th round of nuclear talks between Iran and the United States scheduled for Sunday have been canceled. Oh, brother. Anyway, which risks deadly, unintended, and spiraling consequences in terms of U.S. involvement, plus even more economic shock. Israel targeting Iran's energy infrastructure was a major escalation. Hawks cheering show of force. But per usual, the strategic long-term impact is unclear, plus likely dark. Some put faith in Trump comments like the war must stop post just now, but he will have to make it stop, an uphill battle given Netanyahu/Hawks' position. His own lack of focus hasn't stopped Ukraine and Gaza, the decimated foreign policy apparatus around him. Breaking an apartment is precisely targeted in central Tehran. There's talk in Iranian media of an assassination. I think it's very American also, because like America, I think a lot of people forget that like America is incredibly sheltered from the major impacts that it causes all around the world, right? because its proximity to global events that it intervenes in is so fucking far that there is nothing more American than to have a stupid fucking military parade while all this shit's unfolding. Like, Trump is just, going and watching Les Miserables on Broadway or at the Kennedy Center. He's doing his like little birthday military parade. He's doing all this shit while the world is fucking on fire due to his administration's involvement. 9/11 was a tremendous outlier in that regard. Most blowback to the point was experienced at diplomatic outposts. Yeah. God, what the fuck was that pronunciation? Yes, I know. I'm ass at pronouncing things. Okay, calm down. What time are you going out to the protest? So this morning I was planning on going to the WEO protests, which are ending right now. The other protests that are happening, there's one in Beverly Hills that's like from now to like 4 p.m. I was planning on going to that, but I think I'm just going to go to the downtown LA one, which is supposed to end, but I don't think it's going to actually end. But given that there is so much breaking news taking place, like I have a camera guy with me as well. He's just sitting, waiting. But like, this is the LA one, and everyone that's been to the protest so far, I'm talking to them, they're saying that the protests are super libbed up. Trump told Netanyahu U.S. could strike Iran's Fordo nuclear site if needed, report says.
In their 20s, who are in their teens, in many cases, U.S. citizen grandchildren. The degree of embeddedness in the fabric of Los Angeles that this community has is the reason I think that these enforcement actions and the way they were carried out really struck a nerve, and it's why we're seeing what we're seeing today and why we're seeing what we've been seeing over the course of the last week.
You're spot on. That is what's bringing.
According to Israel Today, 499 Israelis have been injured and hospitalized since the outbreak of the war with Iran. Yeah, Tim Walz is about to give an update, I think. State of Minnesota Emergency Operations Briefing Room. We're waiting on them. Oh, no. This is not good at all. Wait, what? What are you talking about? Why are you saying, oh, no, this is not good at all? The most Los Angeles sign I've ever seen. If Kamala were president, we'd be at brunch. Yeah, they're back. They're back. The brunch, the brunch crowd is back, and they're protesting. Iran's response is supposed to be coming as well soon, but I don't know if that's actually happened. Oh, if U.S. strikes Iran directly? Yeah. United States President Donald Trump recently told Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that the U.S. would consider striking Iran's underground Fordo nuclear facility if such a move would become necessary to prevent Tehran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. Israeli journalist Barak Ravid tells Channel 12. According to Israeli officials cited by Ravid, Trump conveyed this message to Netanyahu in phone calls over the past several weeks. The Fordo facility may be beyond Israel's military capabilities to destroy without outside assistance, he adds. However, Ravid added that the White House has officially denied that Trump is considering a U.S. strike, stating that now is not the time to launch an attack on Iran. The issue will be a critical issue in the coming days and weeks as Israel continues its newly launched campaign on Iranian nuclear and military sites, Ravid says. If Fordo survives Israeli airstrikes, Iran's nuclear infrastructure will remain intact, says Ravid, adding that Tehran could even relocate the rest of its nuclear program to the facility, placing it beyond Israel's reach and accelerating its path to a nuclear weapon. According to the semi-official ISNA news agency, Iran confirmed that the Fordo site sustained limited damage from the recent Israeli attacks. Yeah, I talked about this already, but they have hardened nuclear sites, and that only US B-2 bombers could deliver the GBU-57 bunker buster powerful enough to strike Iran's deeply buried nuclear sites. Israel can only succeed either through an unprecedented intelligence operation or with full US support. And full US support in this situation means like directly intervening and bombing at the behest of, what is this real account posting motion? Wait, is this the actual official Iranian account? Iranian Arabic. Or is this one of those other fake accounts? Because the one account that like keeps posting memes and shit is not a real Iranian account. As former Prime Minister of Israel, I want to tell the Iranian people one thing. Your time is now. Free yourself from your cruel dictators. Give your children a future life and liberty. Israel has eliminated Iran's most senior military leaders. The regime has never been weaker. Never. In Judaism, we say, if not now, when? Today, I urge every proud Iranian citizen to take their future into their own hands and know this: the people of Israel stand with you. The state of Israel stands with you. The entire free world will stand with you. Do not miss this opportunity to achieve your freedom. I feel like this is so stupid, especially because they're doing this while simultaneously blowing up the country. You know, hey, I know we're like blowing your shit up right now, but like we stand with you, you know? They're so fucking desperate for a rebellion in Iran to happen. Literally zero protests have occurred against the government after these attacks, but they need this because without it, they have to face Iran head on. Without a civil war, they could just fuel that would weaken the state. We just got alarms on the phones. The press conference hasn't started yet, but Israel is getting the missile alarms right now. Does anyone have an Al Jazeera link? Like the Al Jazeera live feed? Breaking: missiles launched from Iran to Israel.
Netanyahu is calling on Iranians to revolt against their government.
And the time has come for you to unite around your flag and your historic legacy by standing up for your freedom from an evil and oppressive regime.
But cheers echoed in the streets of Tehran, with supporters celebrating the attacks on Israel. Tehran is retaliating after Israel launched a series of strikes across Iran on Friday, killing military commanders and several nuclear scientists. The Natanz uranium enrichment site was one of the main targets.
Can Israel destroy Iran's nuclear weapons program fully? No. Can they set it back? Yes. Can they set it back very far? Yes.
For now, Tehran has decided to withdraw from a sixth round of nuclear negotiations with the U.S. that were scheduled for Sunday, with both Iran and Israel warning more attacks will follow. Katia Lopez-Oloyan, Al Jazeera.
Let's bring in Tawhid Asadi. He's live for us in Tehran. And Tawhid, a little over an hour ago now, 2 hours ago, Israel said that it was striking Iran again. What was happening?
Well, actually, what we see on the ground is the very reality that Tehran is striking back while the Israeli military offensive continues across the country. A couple of minutes ago here in the capital of the country, we heard the sound of explosion, which is related to the activation of air defense systems, something that has happened over the past few hours and past 2 days. But speaking of the context, we spoke to a high-ranking security official here in Tehran. He said that Tehran is preparing itself for a prolonged confrontation and will increase its attacks, something very important in terms of the current situation.
Iran has officially launched. Iran attack has started. Israel, the IDF, has stated that Iran has launched another salvo. CNN is still talking about the manhunt, the manhunt that's happening in Minnesota. But I assume that Al Jazeera has live cams up for Tel Aviv and Haifa. I don't know how aggressive this is going to be, but they said that they were going to. This was going to be the most ruthless strike yet.
Listen to.
Where is it? I don't see it.
Many thanks indeed for bringing us the view there from Tehran. Let's bring in Bernard Smith. He's joining us from the Jordanian capital, Amman, and he's reporting from there because the Israeli government...
Oh, okay, yeah, some interceptors are being fired already.
...and the occupied West Bank. So, Bernard, I can see you looking up at the sky there. I'm just interested to know what you're seeing or hearing there.
Well, we just had the air raid sirens going off over over Amman, over the Jordanian capital. They just stopped, and then there was a tannoy announcement broadcast across the city, and it was saying that Jordanian airspace, something has infiltrated Jordanian airspace. People should stay at home, do not go outside. And my cameraman is... Did you see something, Basil, or not? Okay, so something, as you were just hearing from Tawhid in Iran, clearly something is on its way, and we think we can see something in the sky there. Is that something just exploded in the sky there? So something has just exploded in the sky over over Amman. There we have there's something going over in the sky over there. I think, can we see that, Basil?
Why is Jordan helping Israel? Because Jordan is a holdover state designed by Western imperial powers to do specifically this. Egypt is also a vassal state that is completely captive and servile to Western interests.
There's a lot of activity in the skies. Now you can see this. I think we see an explosion just above my head there, right high up in the sky. So clearly, Iran has launched, well, clearly something is in Jordanian airspace and is being intercepted or attempted. There was a huge explosion then just again.
They're targeting
right
Haifa.
above my head there. There's more. We can see them dropping down. Crikey, there's a lot. We can see these heading down. Basil, I think, is following that. Now, whether that's been something that's been destroyed in the air or whether it's something that's falling down here, and we will also have to be careful.
Yes, Bernard, please, if you need to go and
Iran's,
take shelter, we can keep talking to you.
Yep.
If you need to go and take shelter, because it does look like there's an awful lot of activity in the skies there. And if the air raid sirens
the missilates, the ones that light on fire, is it after interception?
What you need to do.
Or is it on fire because it's like about to?
I think
is it because it's
okay,
about to
now,
fucking
Basil,
fall,
we think,
or is
right,
it post-interception?
Sort of way beyond it. You can see it all there. All that coming down. So that, I'm guessing, is what has been destroyed on its way.
Because sometimes it could be from the
As
speed.
I say, the Jordanians had previously, and when Iran previously launched missiles. I'm having another one right above me.
They're on fire due to air resistance causing plasma to form around the warhead. Yeah, I don't think it's interceptions, Chad. We've seen a bunch of those missiles. The very fast. Oh my God, that's a lot.
Wow.
Oh, they are not stopping these, dude.
There's a lot coming down from the sky
my
there.
God.
That's very significant.
My
this is right over.
God.
This is just beyond the city centre.
Oh, they are not intercepting these at all.
Amman, I can't, and there's clearly some impact over there because you can see.
My God.
When they hit the ground, you can see sort of red flashes. So whatever is being destroyed up there in the sky is
what the fuck? None of these are showing
landing on the
shit,
ground,
dude.
and you can see the explosions from there. For now. That first volley seems to have ended. And so there we are, Laura. So an indication, yes, clearly something is going on.
Wait,
Absolutely.
I can't tell if those
it's
are.
extraordinary to see those pictures. We're also keeping an eye on.
Yeah, because those
were
were in Amman, bro.
Tel Aviv and Israel. We're not seeing any impact there. It does appear as if the Jordanians are intercepting a lot of these missiles that are coming over from Iran before they actually reach Israel. But this is an extraordinary number of missiles that we're seeing being intercepted in the sky over Amman.
Yes, it is. And remember that Jordan does not have the sort of air defense systems that Israel has, does not have an Iron Dome. The Iron Dome over Israel
Why can't I go back on this?
Provided considerable cover for
what the fuck?
Israelis.
What kind of weird ass
we know some
YouTube
missiles
page is
got
this
through.
where I
We've
can't
seen
go
the
back on the
destruction
live feed?
in civilian areas. We don't know how many got through because there is, and as in every country at war, there is military censorship. And Israeli media is not allowed to report if it knows that military sites.
This is the Israelis intercepting them over Jordan using arrow, not the Jordanians.
So we don't know how many of those first wave of Israeli missiles struck military areas, but we do know that Jordan, the last time this happened, in Iran's first first salvo, did intercept some missiles coming in because it's in Jordanian airspace, and Jordan considers these missiles potentially a threat to it as well. So it would certainly, when something is flying over the capital like that, it would try and intercept them, and it looks like something there has been intercepted and has fallen to ground just beyond the city centre.
And we're just seeing that there are air raid sirens now sounding in Haifa, and that is the city that we can see in the big box on our screens, just over from Amman, where those rockets were destined for. A lot of them, as you showed us amazingly, Bernard.
There's a
were
red bar, but it's hard to
intercepted
see. You guys
over
are
the
so
skies
fucking
of
stupid,
Amman. Are
dude.
you also
I'm literally
hearing air
pressing
raid
back.
sirens in
It's not
Amman?
letting me
Because
fucking go back.
as these missiles
I'm
are
pressing
intercepted,
back on the keyboard.
problem,
Okay,
the-
I know there's a red bar and it's hard to
the
see.
fear, the
Why are you guys so
shrapnel
fucking
will fall
stupid
down.
sometimes?
It's very real and can also cause a lot of injuries.
Yes, it can. I mean, the air raid sirens will go for a fixed period of time as a warning. They don't ring constantly, and then there is this audio message. But everybody hears those air raid sirens.
These are streams that,
Everybody
weirdly
knows
enough,
what to
don't let
do.
you fucking
Again,
rewind.
Amman is not. And Jordan is not like Israel in that not every Israeli home, every Israeli office block, every Israeli building has got bomb shelters. Every Israeli home must have one, and every Israeli knows where to go. Jordan doesn't have that setup really, so it doesn't have that setup at all. It hasn't needed it. So people have been told just simply by that announcement to stay indoors and to stay at home, and the city has gone extremely quiet. There are still cars. It's a busy Saturday night. There is still traffic on the road.
I'm clicking.
There are still people.
It's not working.
Making their way home. There's
Okay.
there's not very
It's
little
not
warning
working.
this was coming. You just got the air raid siren.
Lots
and I
got
would
through
say
near Haifa. Yeah, these
only
are the
a
ones
minute or
that.
two after
This
you
is the
crossed
ones
to
that
me
we
did
just saw.
see-
Hold on. This was the big volley, the barrage that we saw. Footage posted to social media shows Iran's ballistic missile attack on the Haifa area. Sirens in Haifa and across northern Israel. These were the ones we were talking about. I don't know if these are. I don't think these were actually intercepted. This is the clearest. I don't know if it's all. I don't know if these were intercepted and it's just like flaming wreckage, or if those are the ones that got through. I can't tell. Look, you can see the impact, Chad. Look, at least two. Look. 1, 2 hit. 3 didn't hit. 1 hit. 2, 3. I think it's like a couple of them hit, like 3 of them hit. I mean, they all hit the ground, but 3 of them exploded. Israeli Air Force is responding by bombing Tehran. The Air Force is currently attacking military targets in Tehran in parallel with the activity of intercepting missiles launched from Iran. Do you know what they're targeting? I don't know. But that was the first barrage of missiles that...
And we had a hint of what is heading Israel's way just then
this
a
is
few
from
moments ago.
the Haifa
we haven't
area.
seen anything else yet, but it's still early in the night, and Iran has only just announced that it's launched this next wave.
We did see last night that these waves, they came in waves. I mean, there's a reason we're calling them waves. They were a barrage.
2
of
buildings are on
missiles,
fire in
and then there
Haifa.
was a lull.
Yes.
And we even saw people coming out of the shelters in Tel Aviv,
So,
being given the all clear.
in the
and
first
then
round of
being
attacks,
sent
they could
back
be
to
targeting
shelters,
the
and it was a
interceptors
long,
first.
long night.
You have to overwhelm the interceptors by sending as many as you possibly can. It's inevitably going to not be able to intercept every single one. And then after that, if there is an area, like a priority target there, then they send a second round, or even in the first round, if there's enough. I assume that there's like a couple. But when you see light flashes on the ground, that is an unintercepted missile successfully striking a target. There is an air defense base just southeast of Haifa. They may be targeting, they may be targeting the air defenses. Someone in the chat said that Iranian media has told settlers to stay away from energy grid facilities, I think. So they might be actually trying to hit the energy grid as well.
Scaling up its attacks because it's moved from degrading Iran's nuclear capability, its uranium enrichment capability.
Those were intercepted. The light stays bright until impact on unintercepted missiles. Okay, but some of those missiles literally exploded on the impact site. We looked at it. There was at least 2. There was at least 4, and there's 2 separate locations that are on fire in Haifa at the moment. So clearly,
world's liquefied natural
a couple
gas
of them
passes
got through.
25% of the world's crude oil passes through, while Iran needs a navy to be able to do that. Speculation that Israel is targeting Iran's navy to stop it trying to stop traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. This is Iran's response, though, latest response to Israel's attack.
Okay, Bernard, extraordinary images that you've been bringing us there from Amman as Jordan intercepts many.
The problem is
of
Israel
those
has achieved air
missiles that
superiority
have
over
just
Iran,
been
so whenever
launched
Iran's launching missiles, the
from
launchers are
Iran
being compromised, and the
towards
IDF jets pick them up
Israel.
easily.
We're
We
looking
don't
at
know that if that's the
pictures
case.
of Jerusalem there, also latest scenes of Haifa and Tel Aviv as those rockets are intercepted on their way from Iran to Israel. Let's bring back our senior correspondent, Ali Hashem. I just want to pick up, he joins us here in the studio, I just want to pick up on something that Bernard was saying, that Israel is now targeting energy infrastructure in Tehran. It's threatening greater, more extensive strikes. In response, where are Israel's vulnerable energy targets?
Well, actually, the attack on Haifa, now, we don't know what happened now. We just saw the rockets, we saw the interception. But the attack on Haifa was expected. And actually, I spoke about it just like...
Yes.
Yeah, because over there, the gas fields are located. And it seems that this is the retaliation.
Supporting Iran in going into an unwinnable war is dumb. What do you mean supporting Iran and going into an unwinnable war? I support peace, okay? Israel is very clearly the unstable, incredibly dangerous participant here. Iran didn't start fucking attacking Israel out of nowhere. What the fuck are you talking about? What are countries in the region supposed to do? Israel just blows your shit up, strikes Tehran, and then you just have to sit there and take it and then expect another fucking attack in retaliation? This is the expectation. You have to just eat it. Otherwise, you're fucking anti-Semitic, I guess.
Earlier today said, look, they want
Israel has shown every other regional actor that they only respond to military deterrence.
Objective. But this official warned it will be a very difficult week for the Israeli people, telling civilians to brace for the reality that there will be more damage and more casualties here in Israel, given the fact that the Iranians have one of the most advanced missile programs in the Middle East. We know they have supplied the Russians with missiles that are being used in Ukraine. We've seen the destruction these missiles
I don't think the consent manufacturing is working this time. All the normies I know are like, why the fuck is this happening? Even the right-wing ones are plainly aware of who the aggressor is. What do you think? Yeah, I think... Israel wants this to be like the 6-Day War, okay? Israel wants this to be exactly like the 6-Day War. However, they're not getting the 6-Day War results. That's number one. The preemptive striking is the exact same. And they're at most getting 2003, right, invasion of Iraq. But this time, unlike the invasion of Iraq, this time there is a tremendous amount of enmity directed towards the aggressive party, which is Israel. Okay? While I understand Israel is America and everything Israel is doing is at the behest of America, a lot of Americans don't feel that way. They see it as a foreign nation, understandably, because it is a foreign nation, technically. Okay? So when Israel is doing this preemptive strike, okay, this preemptive first strike in self-defense, everybody sees that now. Like, most people see that now as like, nope, that's completely unacceptable. Why the fuck are you doing this? Why are we even defending you? This is unlike anything that has ever happened in the history of American conflict, modern American conflict.
A conflict, an exchange of fire. It is a war between the two countries. They are exchanging fire. They are killing people. But amid this war, there are certain red lines that each side has, and energy infrastructure is one of them. And so as we look forward, we can expect both the Israelis and the Iranians to adjust what they're trying to hit. And we heard earlier today from President Trump saying that he wants to see all of this conflict end. And so the question is, will the Israelis and the Americans be able to say enough or do enough to get the Iranians back to the negotiating table? At this point, that seems far-fetched, but this can't go on forever. And that is the big question that ultimately will come after this round of violence slows down and the missile fire that we have seen toward this country slows down. People will start to discuss what comes next. And there is a question of if there will be room for diplomacy or if this will just
That's such a fucking
continue.
ridiculous statement, by the way.
certainly
No
many
new
here who
words,
say the
Donald Trump.
Israelis
Of
will
course, Trey
continue to
Ings,
go
being the fucking Trey Ings is a Fox News journalist. Israel just carried out a major strike in Yemen, possibly Houthi leadership hit.
Israeli source telling Fox News today there are 3 objectives: to weaken Iran's nuclear program, to take out the country's ballistic missile program, and to stop what this source calls an existential threat to Israel's safety and security. And this source says if they're
Yeah, I
able to
already
do
showed
that,
Haifa.
they would end
Oh, this
this
is more
round
footage from
of
Haifa.
conflict with Iran. John.
It shouldn't be lost on our viewers that President Trump said that Iran...
Do that, they would end this round of conflict with Iran. John.
Tehran is under siege. Israel is attacking Iranian cities. Tehran and the port of Bandar Abbas are under attack. Reports are coming in about the strikes on the Iranian South Pars Phase 14 gas processing plant, one of the largest natural gas extraction facilities in the world. This is earlier today. Israel did this earlier today, chatter. You're showing something from earlier. From what I understand, there's reports coming in about Yemen as well. Can someone send me real-time information on Yemen? Someone was saying that that there is a in parallel with the sirens, Israel's operating in both Iran and Yemen. Security source: if the attack in Yemen was successful, it would be dramatic, reported Israeli news channel 12. They might be trying to also do a decapitation strike on the Houthi leadership, potentially. Local outlets report airstrikes targeting Yemen's capital, Sanaa. I don't understand how Israel has enough manpower to be able to both strike Yemen and also strike Iran at the same time while thwarting all of the fucking barrage of missiles coming their way. I really disagree on this one. They knew it wasn't going to be a 6-day war. Earlier today, All Hebrew outlets published some version of the following headline. Straight from the spokesperson's office, IDEA says the Gaza front is negligible. Iran is the main front. It's all about perpetual war, perpetual violence, not a decisive victory. Okay, fair. Maybe Israel is not as fucking insane as I thought they were. I don't think they're getting the...
Well, it is now hour 12.
So it is more like 2003. Well, that was my point. My point was that it is basically like 2003.
As well as wounding another lawmaker.
But this time, not a lot of people are on board with Israel. Or not a lot of people are on board with the perpetrators.
In a city outside of Tel Aviv, a residential area, and the damage from that missile was pretty extraordinary, something that Israelis are certainly not used to seeing here in Israel. Many houses were completely destroyed. There was debris everywhere. Cars were crumpled up and sort of tossed down the street like Coke cans, and people were gathering at the police cordon, sort of craning their necks, Jessica, trying to get a better look at the scale of the damage, because as I said before, this is just not something that Israelis have seen on their own turf, so to speak. So everybody now waiting to see what comes next, whether we will get further alerts, whether they will hear those sirens, which are an indication that in 90 seconds you should try to take shelter in your nearest possible shelter. And of course, we'll keep you posted as and when we hear more.
Yeah, and one quick note, Clarissa, to your point about Israelis not really experiencing this point, you had mentioned the notification system has been altered as well, kind of underscoring how serious this moment is for those people in that country.
There's now like 4 steps. So this warning that just came out is the warning before the warning. Then there's another one at 15 minutes, another one at 10 minutes, another one at 90 seconds, and then a final one to tell you that you can come out of the shelter. So they're taking every precaution, because when you look at the damage that's done with this kind of a ballistic missile, as opposed to the damage that we're more used to seeing here in Israel from a Katyusha rocket or from a mortar, for example, you can see that this is an entirely different ballgame. And particularly with regards to the area that we visited today, which is a civilian area, there's also, I think, a broader concern that effectively with this massive escalation and with Israel's actions inside Iran, that the gloves have come off and that it's not necessary.
What the fuck is going on?
Eva Longoria searching for Spain, Sunday at 9 on CNN. Clear program, and also on
degrading Iran's ability to respond. They were military command and control, military leadership, and then ballistic missile units and ballistic missile commanders and leadership. And now it appears that in addition to energy infrastructure, the Israelis are really targeting Iranian air defenses. That argues that Israel's in this for a longer air campaign, that they want to be able to have manned aircraft, and Netanyahu said as much. They want manned aircraft flying over Iran, hitting a larger array of targets with larger caliber or larger payload munition than you can get on, for instance, a drone or some ballistic missiles. So this does, to me, it pretends that the Israelis have a longer, more ambitious operation in mind militarily this time.
And what would those ambitions be? What does this tell you about what Netanyahu's ultimate aim in Iran is?
That's the problem, right? I mean, you've got a military objective, but then, you know, every country goes to war for political objectives, right? You're in pursuit of some political goal. And so in the same way that Russia found this out in Syria, Israel has found this out in Gaza, the U.S. has found this out in several of its military campaigns. Destroying an enemy militarily doesn't necessarily lead you to the political goals you want. So Israel looks like it's determined to set the Iranian nuclear program back as far as possible, destroy Iran's ballistic missile and, to the extent possible, its drone making and launching capabilities, and destroy Iran's air defense capabilities, which would leave Iran vulnerable to further Israeli strikes and further escalation. And I assume that the thinking, the objective inside the Israeli government is if they can achieve that, then they can impose some sort of settlement on Iran that Iran will have no choice but to go along with, because most of its defenses will have been eroded. The problem is every enemy, every adversary can always move from a conventional to an unconventional or symmetric to an asymmetric response. And that can involve terrorism, proxy groups, cyber attacks. And so the conflict could expand in those directions as well.
The target of the attack is Sanaa, Yemen, Mohammed al-Amri, the Houthi chief of staff. The results of the attack are being examined.
The US is also hopeful that this can force Tehran back to the negotiating table or to the negotiating table, and that we can have a diplomatic solution to the nuclear program. I mean, Trump is saying that this is what he is hoping for, even as Israel is striking Iran, and Iran is saying that talks are cancelled and negotiations are off.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean talks are canceled forever. I think we have to see how this latest round of escalations goes. If it does peak and then sort of settle down or settle out, and the violence it ends, or at least is lowered, then I think it's possible the U.S. and Iran could sit down again for this sixth round of negotiation that was supposed to happen this weekend in Oman. But I think for the regime in Tehran, for the government in Tehran, for that to happen, it can't be seen to have been defeated by Israel, right? It can't be seen to have been rendered militarily almost defenseless and then come into a negotiation with the U.S. on its nuclear program, because it has to get something. It has to emerge from this latest escalation with Israel with, it's trite to say pride or honor, but there has to be an off-ramp, I think, for the Iranians to come back to the table.
Where are the chatters saying that the gasoline depots are exploding one after the other in Tehran? Do you have any footage of that?
Putin has held a phone call with the US President Donald Trump, and those discussions focused on escalating tensions between Israel and Iran. Putin condemned Israel's attacks against Iran, and the two leaders have not ruled out a return to the negotiation table to reach a deal on Iran's nuclear program. Trump reportedly told Putin that US negotiators are ready to resume work with Iranian representatives. Let's bring in Kimberly in Washington, D.C. So we had Trump speaking to Putin and calling for an end to the war between Israel and Iran. But it must be seen within the context of that conversation, where he's also calling for a war between the Ukraine and Russia, but not actually charting a path as to how to go about that.
Right. And, what's interesting is that in the call with Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump earlier on Saturday,
Russian president offered to mediate to end the conflict between Israel and Iran. But it appears Donald Trump, at least in his Truth Social post, has not accepted that invitation. Instead, how he ended his own Truth Social post is saying that he feels as I do that Israel's war in Iran should end, to which I explained his war should also end. In other words, Donald Trump said that he wanted the war between Russia and Ukraine to end on day one, that he could do that. Clearly, that hasn't happened.
New York Times has reported that in Tehran, there's mass gas clouds everywhere.
Things are still ongoing. With
yes, the Yemen one was a top Houthi commander. I already covered that. They tried to
Ursula von der Leyen.
They tried to assassinate the chief of staff
with the leader of Turkey,
for the Houthis.
Recep Tayyip Erdogan. So he's been fairly busy ahead of what we know is going to be the military parade to mark the 250th birthday of the army, as well as it's also Donald Trump's birthday today. Just quickly, what came out of those calls with the EU chief, she really underscored the concern about the impact of the war between Israel and Iran being and having an effect on energy markets. And already we've seen that here in the United States. And she said that there needs to be close coordination in order to keep an eye on that spiraling situation. With regard to Turkey's president and the call there, what we know is that he said, as we heard from the Russian president as well, that he believes diplomacy is the only way to end what is quickly an escalation in the Middle East. And he says that Ankara is ready to do its part, just as we know the Russian president also offered similar proposals in order to end this conflict.
Kimberly, if we just take a step back for a moment and look at the state of play across America, how split is Trump's administration on this war that Israel has launched against Iran?
It's caused a real schism between the sort of traditional neoconservative Republicans and then the sort of newer MAGA Republicans, kind of Trump's core supporters, that Make America Great Again movement. And here's why. Look, the bottom line is that the neocons are staunch supporters of Israel, have been for generations. This is where a lot of that funding from Congress gets approved through these, they're very lockstep with lobby groups like AIPAC here in the United States. But things are changing in the U.S. As money grows tighter, as inflation increases, things are very difficult for ordinary Americans. And so those core Trump supporters are saying, look, we can't afford another foreign conflict. We don't want to be involved, and we don't want to be dragged into something because of this ironclad support for Israel. So there's really a growing divide, and we should point out that's also echoing what the left is saying as well in terms of the Democrats.
Okay, Kimberly,
there is no real significant internal conflict as far as I understand. I could be wrong. Within the Republican Party, there isn't even internal conflict between the Democrats and the Republicans on this issue.
Iran's strikes on Israel. He joins us on the phone.
The single quote disproves this divide.
Shelter. So, Ori, this time yesterday we were also speaking to you on the phone in a shelter. It seems that this is going to be another long night of attacks.
There's a good chance it may, but they actually just let us out, which is not a promising sign as far as Israeli preparedness is concerned. There have been various complaints, very consistent complaints about Israel's early notification system regarding incoming missiles. Our Home Front Command issued a very complicated system of alerts which nobody understands. And the general sense that nobody's looking out for the general population.
For the record,
at the top is
voters don't matter.
Even as Israeli citizens,
voters and their opinion does not matter.
War and Israel strikes, and
especially when it comes to foreign policy.
Because yesterday we saw pictures.
Your opinions have never mattered. Democrat, Republican does not matter.
Even before the end of the strikes, we then saw
literally completely inconsequential
in the shelters. So it must be very confusing and very anxious time for people there.
I mean, here.
It's very confusing and very anxious.
Thank you,
So
Representative
far, over the
Jeffries,
past,
says
nearly
APAC. It's
2
clear that the
years,
Iranian regime poses a grave threat to the entire free world. There are no
with regard to
circumstances where
rocket
Iran
fire
can be
from
permitted to become a
Lebanon,
nuclear power.
The notification system seemed to be in order and quite efficient and gave the required
It matters if
information
we are
at the
willing to
right
get out on
time.
the street,
If
and that will
after
happen if the
3
U.S.
days,
military tries to
despite,
invade Iran. Trust me on that.
again,
They would have no
Israel's
support for that. I know. Barring like a PSYOP 9/11 style outcome, barring like a 9/11 style outcome, like a false flag operation or some shit, there is only disagreements about going to war with Iran. Americans are broadly completely against this. They do not want it. They do not want it at all.
In the past hour, we're headed towards Haifa. First of all, do you know if any of them struck that port city? And if they did, what would they have been targeting?
They would have been targeting the immense refineries near the port of Haifa and the port of Haifa itself, but mostly the immense refineries, which fits the tit-for-tat model that seems to be developing here. Israel attacked a gas field in the open sea today, outside off Iran's shore. So the Iranians are trying to attack the refineries, cause a massive fire. There are also very big chemical plants in Haifa port. I think that's what they were targeting. Hezbollah attempted to hit those targets as well as it fired on the Israeli north. To the best of my knowledge, I haven't heard of any falls or strikes as of yet. But the night is young.
It is. What other vulnerable assets, energy assets in Israel might come under attack tonight, do you think?
There's no real way of telling. We've got a huge gas rig.
Remember,
gas
chatters were telling me that these weren't fucking impacts.
Coast, a little south of Haifa, that's probably a very lucrative target for the Iranians. But I think the Iranians seem to know where they want to strike. The strikes yesterday on Tel Aviv actually managed to hit the Kiryat base, where Israel's Ministry of Defense and IDF High Command are located, even if the damage caused was relatively minor. So again, while the Iranians sat there and took Israel's bombings for about 16 or 17 hours on the first day, it seems like they're using their limited resources
Tehran.
in comparison to Israel with, dare I say it, professionalism.
You say earlier that Israelis are confused by the system of alerts and feel that they very much have to look after themselves, that the government is not doing that job for them. However, how much faith and trust do the Israelis have in the Iron Dome system, which keeps out most of these rockets and stops them from impact?
This isn't about, I think, the Iron Dome is not the system that's being deployed massively here. The Iron Dome is not operating missiles. There are various other interception systems, including partially the Iron Dome. But I think the important point, as far as I'm concerned, is that Israelis are extremely ambivalent. On the one hand, again, there's mass support, a very broad consensus that this was a timely strike and Israel should go after Iran because Iran wants to destroy Israel. That's the official narrative. On the other hand, there's a sense that nobody really has any clear idea of what's happening. Israelis know that this strike was not or meant and is not capable of destroying the Iranian nuclear program. They realize that this isn't going to...
I will admit that Iranian response, albeit restrained, more restrained than I think Israel... more restrained than I think is necessary for Israel to like really reconsider striking Iran over and over again and escalating, has been a lot more effective than I thought it would be. The first couple of days, like the first day I thought was fairly limited, and it led me to believe that Israel might have actually successfully taken out a decent number of the missile systems that they have. This is in Tehran, by the way. They're burning the refineries. Israel has struck one of the oil refineries. The main fuel depot in Tehran was hit. I feel like Israel wants the rockets to go through the barrier to have a better casus belli. No, it doesn't. No. It would be in Israel's best interest to showcase how strong their defenses are. To be like, we can keep bombing Tehran and not even get a fucking lick of penalty for it. Also, Saudi Arabia came out with the classic pussy-ass statement being like, hey, please do not destroy us, Iran. We would not want the smoke. Please don't touch our oil refineries. We want peace. We want peace. Even though, you know, they have obviously shown their true hand. So nothing that the Saudi government says right now is meaningful, in my opinion. So when you hear stuff like that from the Saudi government, remember, it's just bullshit. It's ass covering. They just don't want the refineries to burn.
To contain the escalation, because all these countries in the region see that they might be impacted, affected, harmed by all this escalation around them. It's not easy to keep this fire contained inside Iran. Iran is a big country. Iran is on at least 3 seas. It's on the in the Gulf, Caspian Sea in the north. We have the Indian Ocean in the south, and the Arabian Sea. So 4 seas, and at the same time, it has borders with several countries. So there are going to be a lot of, let me say, leaks. It's not easy to prevent the spill. It might happen. So all these countries would want to contain this, and they can see clearly that this war is, after 48 hours, is getting out of control.
How might they contain it? What is available to them?
Well, the strategic relations with the United States of America that regional leaders have, Emir of Qatar, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and now, of course, Qatar's good relations with Iran, they can use that. Also Saudi Arabia, but at the end there should be 2 sides to tango. The other side, which is the United States, should be able also to talk to the Israelis, to convince the Israelis, to bring the Israelis down the tree. Because if this is going to continue, this is going to be a long war of attrition. And I just take from our culture, the Arabic culture, and even Persian and Turkish, we use a parable on biting the fingers, who shouts first. The problem is that both sides aren't going to shout any soon. So if this is going to continue, it's going to end with both sides just eating the fingers of each other.
Because we're not seeing enough pressure or any pressure coming from the United States, are we? I mean, we're hearing Trump reacting to what Israel is doing, but there's no clear
like this is
path.
their plan.
There's no clear message coming out of the Trump
that
administration.
that they crafted alongside Israel.
Well, if we take it from a transactional point of view, it's an investment. And he wants to see how much this investment is going to bring him, at least on the table. Because this is going to be used on the negotiation table, and it's we can say that this is negotiation with fire. Is Iran going to give up on its whole program? Is Iran going to accept stopping to enrich uranium inside Iran? Now, I don't know actually if this war is going to end with the same status quo that was before the war, because after this war, we will have a different Middle East, with either Iran weakened, or Iran falling, or Iran being strong once again and reviving the axis it used to have and the influence it used to have. So there's going to be a new picture. And that's why the negotiation table that exists right now.
Yeah, the other side of the story is that with all of the regional populations, if Iran is capable of surviving this, they will have tremendous reach. Like, they will be the most domineering power in the region. Like, the whole elevated sectarian Sunni Shia divide is just so negligible. It's not significant at all. The only people that care about that shit are like the Saudis. The only people that actually play any role within this are people in power. Like, the populations don't care. Obviously, in the entire Muslim world, Yemen and the Ansar Allah movement has reached godlike status. Any Muslim you talk to, and remember, the Ansar Allah movement is entirely comprised of the Zaidi Shia Houthi family. Okay, they're Shia. But if you go to any fucking Sunni Muslim anywhere around the planet, they will say they stand with Yemen, they love Ansar Allah. Iran, obviously, in the eyes of a lot of Sunni Muslims, is still a terrifying country of tremendous influence because they have seen Iran attack other Sunni groups in the region. Many of them Salafist, but still.
And that's going to be really dangerous.
If Iran is able to survive this fucking intense bombardment campaign, with even, with obviously some significant penalties incurred,
Senior research fellow at the Center for Middle East Strategic Studies, and he joins
I
us
think the
from
rest of the Muslim world, not the
Thank you
leadership,
so much for being with us.
but the rest of the
What has
Muslim world will
happened,
see them as
in
fucking
Tehran
gods.
tonight? Because we have been hearing reports that Israel will be striking the city.
Well, from last night specifically, from the late in the evening, we have been hearing the air defense in Tehran operating, actively. But the first night that the attack happened, this was not like this, but it has been increasing the activity of the air defense. But in the meantime, there have been back and forth between the two sides, with Iran, launching a moment ago a new round of missile attack against Israel. What we have been hearing from the Iranian side is that this is expected to be continued.
Obviously, the likely outcome is eventually, after tremendous escalation, which has already started on the Israeli side, they're burning the fucking oil refineries and depots in the capital of Tehran.
Targets they can hit in Israel, and
but
so this could be
beyond that, Israel could eventually.
It does not necessarily to be
Israel could do a decapitation strike like they did with the with Hezbollah. I mean, they accidentally engaged in a decapitation strike for Hamas. They didn't even know that they killed Yahya Sinwar. That's an entirely different condition. And they have yet to do so successfully with Yemen. So that one chatter that said, "You're fucking stupid."
If that's the case, Iran will target American bases and interests in the region. We have been seeing that
Saudi Arabia and Iran resumed relations about 1 year ago. What are you talking about? I'm Yemeni and I hate Ansar Allah. They killed our people in southern Yemen. Ask the Yemenis attacking Israel doesn't give you the right to bomb and kill your own people. Do Yemenis mean nothing to you? What is this? What are these quotes that you're posting? I know Yemenis personally that have fucking had their families on the other side of the fucking civil war that took place.
And this can expand gradually. And
every single person from Yemen, regardless of what side they were on in the civil war, will unironically tell you that they stand with the Ansar Allah movement. And it's not even like fucking, aside from the feds, I guess. Aside from the fucking federal agents that are, I don't know, like doing propaganda from like Sweden or some shit. That's not true law. Brother, there are fucking southern Yemen factions that were literally fighting an intense battle with the Ansar Allah movement that dropped their fucking arms in support of Ansar Allah in Yemen. What are you talking about? My point is, in this fucking region, especially in a place like Yemen, there is an order of priority of who the biggest evil is. Yeah, Token Yemeni says, I'm Southern Yemeni. My family died in the war. We support them now. In this region, there's a higher order of priority in the eyes of every single person from Yemen. American imperialism and Israel, as an extension of American imperialism, is the highest order of priority. Even the previous puppet, Saudi-backed leader, till the end, talked about how much he was in support of the pro-Palestinian movement. For the people of Yemen, Palestine is seen as a dual struggle. They see it as like the same exact situation that they have gone through in their history, regardless of whichever faction they're a part of. That's the reason why I'm talking about Iran versus Israel here as well.
Important specific places in order to make it painful for Israel. And that's why I think, as I said, it's going to be in different phases and a stage operation, which could continue at least for some time. And that's why I think Iran is recovering and trying to somehow compensate what happened in the initial stage of this conflict.
Another of the latest lines that we're getting out of Iran is that the Shahran oil depot has been targeted in an Israeli attack. Iran is saying that the situation there is under control. Can you give us an idea, a bit of context for us as to where this is and its significance in terms
Yemen from
of
Sanaa,
Iran's energy?
The Houthis are fucking up Yemen internally. There's mixed feelings among the cities with the Palestinian movement recently united the people. Yeah, exactly. Also, I'm going to tell you right now, they are way too tapped in to the global internet. They're going to fucking most likely delete the banner. I said this literally a year ago. Like, they're going to go through a internal rehab. There's already reports from what I've seen that like Ansar Allah is supposed to be a secular movement or whatever the fuck. I don't know how real that is, but that always happens. But the primary thing that has united the Yemen population is the campaign against Israel. And these are literally, if you meet a Yemeni person in the West, they most likely are from a faction that was fighting against Ansar Allah. Okay? Maybe ask Alda Markey about this rather than speculate. First of all, what leads you to believe that I'm not like talking about his reporting on this? If you see people that are from Yemen in the Western world, they are most likely not fucking Zaidi Shia Houthi people. Yeah, they're usually all Sunni.
Israel, as it's moved away from the nuclear and military sites towards what appears to now be the energy infrastructure. And one of those targets was the world's largest gas field, South Pars gas field. And that provides 2/3, I understand, of Iran's natural gas. So are you seeing an impact, or what is the impact so far on these strikes?
Well, those attacks are important, but they have not been a major disruption in the country as a result of those attacks. And also there have been some, let's say, a limited attack on, let's say, an airport in Tehran, but the runway, the facilities related to the airport, as well as the equipment and the buildings are not damaged. And these types of attacks also happen in other facilities. You know, it could be more or less in different places, but the disruptions as a result of these attacks have not been major or, I think, visible in the country.
In terms of the diplomacy, Abbas, we've just seen phone calls between Iran, the Iranian president, and the Saudi crown prince. What is Iran's strategy here when it's talking to the Gulf countries? What is it trying to achieve?
One is that Iran has been insisting and stressing the engagement with regional countries, saying that it has no problems with regional countries. But in the meantime, it has been warning those countries who are hosting American forces and bases that if any attack originates from those countries against Iran, Iran will not hesitate to, target the source of the attack, including the American bases and interests in those countries. And I think additional aspect of this story is that some of those countries have been offering in order to mediate, in order to make efforts to de-escalate. This has been coming from a number of regional leaders. So it has been, two sides, some points being raised and mentioned from the Iranian side, and some of those...
The biggest threat to Iran right now is just people, and Israel's capitalizing on that. They're not. I mean, it is. You're right. Under normal circumstances, it is. That's what the sanctions are supposed to create, and they have been somewhat effective. But the one thing that always happens in unprecedented danger coming from the outside is that even the secular Iranians fucking hate Israel for what Israel is doing to Palestine. And the secular Iranians also fucking hate being blown up. They literally live in Iran. Why the fuck would they look at the situation and go, oh, no, thank you so much for bombing my goddamn oil refinery? Are you insane? It causes all of the secular Iranians to really reconsider like how much the IRGC will have their back in this process. You're wrong. No, I'm not. You've seen like 8 fucking graffiti posts from Iranians living in fucking Los Angeles, and you think that actually that actually is enough for you to go, there's a decent amount of resistance. Like there are a lot of fucking people who despise the Iranian government, and it makes perfect sense for them to despise the Iranian government. Okay, especially if you're young, if you're secular. There's a multitude of different reasons why you could blame the Iranian government. You could say like, oh, well, you could believe the fucking Western narratives and say, oh, well, the reason why our economy is shit is because you guys fucking fund all of this foreign incursion, or because you guys are homophobic. The reason why you could hate Iran is because they are actually very fundamentalist and very repressive. Also, does this mean second wave is coming? What the fuck?
For those who do not support either of those factions, and they also are critical of
it's the same hype shit.
Establishment or the government, but they have been calling for that unity against, external threat, specifically the one coming from the Israeli side.
Okay, that's Abbas Aslani joining us on the phone there from Tehran. Abbas, many thanks indeed for bringing us your insights into the situation there in Iran. Hello there, I'm Laura Kyle. It's just gone 21 GMT and you're watching Al Jazeera. Our focus this hour remains the most intense fighting between Israel and Iran in decades. A new wave of Iranian missiles has been launched towards Israel as Tehran promises heavy and destructive attacks against Israel.
Bro, Erdogan reached unprecedented popularity after a fucking failed American coup that took place. People in these fucking countries, no matter how young, no matter how secular they are, will inevitably recognize the danger of Western intervention and will oftentimes galvanize against Western intervention. That is usually what happens. That's what always happens. Okay? I'm not saying that like the Iranian youth, like secular forces within the country are not anti-IRGC, anti the mullahs, anti-fucking Ayatollah. Of course there are. It makes perfect sense to be anti-Ayatollah. They're a fundamentalist force that is incredibly repressive. But I think a lot of you are getting your notes from your neighbors here on this issue. As an Iranian, thank God. Yeah, of course. Like, what do you mean? We hate Donald Trump. Now imagine if Donald Trump was way, way, way more powerful in terms of enacting his fucking Christian fascist, Christian nationalist agenda. And on top of that, there was complete economic instability born out of the Western forces strangling you. Dude, I'm Iranian. I can say, as you said, for Yemen, it's true for Iran too. Do people hated the government for not negotiating with the U.S. because of economic issues? Now I hear from the most radical people in opposition opinion of government that they say we'd rather die from hunger but attack Israel and do not negotiate on our nuclear power. Yeah. Also, the irony is Iran has pursued nuclear denuclearization for literally, 2 decades now? And America has only fucked them over every step of the way. This has nothing to do with its like domestic policies or even some of its foreign intervention in the region. But it is ridiculous to act like Iran has not tried to, for the past 3 decades, engage with denuclearization. And America has used that negotiations process to continue fucking destroying Iran, destroying the Iranian economy with the hopes that like they'll be able to cause enough political instability. If Iran ironically had a nuke, if Iran ironically fucking had a goddamn nuke, this wouldn't be happening. English caption, thanks to Hezbollah, Iran has video intel of Haifa's sensitive military, industrial, and commercial facilities as shown in the HUD video. Oh, they used this. They used the Hezbollah footage to find military targets. I doubt that they used the Hezbollah footage. If the coup in Turkey was led by a secular figure instead of an Islamic cultist character, most Turks wouldn't have a problem with it, by the way. No, that's not true. I don't think so. I think Turkey is the funniest country on the planet. My people, the Turkish people, are a very proud people, but they're also a very servile people. Okay? Let me tell you why. Turkey has the highest degree of hatred for America out of all of the countries that are polled on this. Turkey has the lowest approval rating for America. It's a NATO nation. Turkey serves America's interests in the region. Turkey has the lowest approval rating for Israel, the highest disapproval rating for Israel. I think it's like 93% disapproval for Israel. The Turkish government is an incredibly invaluable ally to Israel. This is why I think Turks are the funniest people on the planet, where they're like genuine servants of American imperialism, but they fucking hate Israel and America. The population, look at this. Look, 93% unfavorability. 93% unfavorability for Israel. And even they do these kinds of surveys on America as well. Turkey, again, one of the lowest fucking favorability ratings for America as well. And yet the Turkish government continues to do business with Israel, and Turks are so oblivious to it.
Some of the gas production there. Well, let's bring in Tawhid Asadi. He is joining us now from Tehran. And Tawhid, since we last spoke, we have been seeing Iran reporting another attack on the Shahran oil depot in Tehran. What more can you tell us about that?
Well, I can say that it happened, but specifically when it comes to details, so far we don't have that much of information. We saw smoke coming out of the scene. It was said that the sort of oil storage center was targeted, but still the extent of damage is not that much. So it might be a superficial targeting of that place, but
Dark Weaver. Türkiye NATO'da değil mi? Huh? Is Turkey not in NATO? Is Turkey not a major energy provider? A logistical hub for energy to go by way of Azerbaijan to Israel? Is that not the case? What did Turkey do in Syria? If not serve the interests of both Israel and, of course, goes without saying, the United States of America. As long as there are American nuclear arms in the Incirlik American military base, Turkey will always be America's lapdog. That's it. A lot of Turks will fail to comprehend this. They will cope. They will act as though Erdogan is a separate entity, that Erdogan is independent, that he plays both sides. And the irony, of course, is Erdogan is playing both sides sometimes. But ultimately, he only does that at the behest of America. Erdogan, just like every other Turkish leadership in perpetuity, will forever serve American empire. But Turks will cope when I bring this up. Look at this Turk. He says, we don't want to end up like Iran. That's why we have to be a loyal servant to America. See? How is that any different than any of the Gulf nation states? I'm willing to bet you despise them, right? Because you think they're all dirty Arabs. That's usually the fucking Turkish attitude on this stuff. Unless you're an Islamist. I can't really tell from what you're saying. But a lot of Turks have genuine hatred for the Arabs. But how is this sentiment any different than the cowardly Gulf states? You say this, acting like you're above them. Dog, you live in America? Yeah. But I'm not oblivious to America's evils. What the fuck do you mean? I'm not oblivious to America's evils. As a matter of fact, I'm talking about Turkey's collaboration with America's evils. Fiona, stop. I'm talking about Turkey, the other country that I'm from, and it's collaboration of America's evils. And these guys are saying, no, that's not the case.
The air defense system is activated across the country. And speaking of the context in which located and the future possibilities, we talked with one high-ranking Iranian official, a security official, who just told us, quote unquote, Tehran is preparing itself for a prolonged confrontation and will increase its attacks. And as I'm reporting behind me, I hear the sounds of explosion related to interception of flying objects by the Iranian air defense system. Also, this high-ranking security official told Al Jazeera that Iran did not start the war, but it will determine how the end of this aggression is going to be.
I'm Kurdish, and I was going to say no, hatred is not a big thing IRL, but then you just realize all my friends are conservative. Conservative Turks that are like kind of Islamist aligned will like the Arabs. A lot of the secular Turks hate the Arabs. Even, it's weird. Defense system disabled, proven lie again. Yeah, I don't think their air defenses are as, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they are. They're able to hit Tehran like this. Trita Parsi. I was raised as Baha'i in Iran, which meant being denied access to higher education and treated as a second-class citizen in my own country. I was arrested, tortured. My father was imprisoned and tortured. My family lived under constant harassment. My sister, my brother, my closest friends, my brother-in-law, we all suffered under a system built on oppression and the deeply rooted anti-Baha'i sentiment that persists in Iran. And yet, despite all this, I do not and never wish for my homeland to be bombed or invaded. No matter how much pain I've experienced, I cannot support violence as a path to justice. Iran is still my home. Its people are still my home. I long for a future shaped, not by war or retribution, but by dignity, freedom, and peace for everyone. Like, I think it was, the other side of this is like, Iran is an incredibly proud nation. Bro, in some ways, Iran literally is everything that Israel LARPs as. An actual fucking continuous 2,000-year empire and culture and nation state. Like, Israel is 77 fucking years old. It's totally made up. Iran has 3,000 years of fucking history. What are we talking about? It's a very proud people too. I mean, 4,000, whatever, however long you want to say it is.
Of anger, commonly shared among different citizens with different mindsets, with different mentalities. Either they are 100% or...
So you okay with Iran making news and no one doing anything about it? Yes. What is this question? Yeah, if Iran had fucking nukes, they wouldn't be getting bombed right now. And they wouldn't be bombing Israel. Really? Yeah, really, bro. Really. Nuclear doctrine. Ukraine should have never given up the nukes. Okay? You give up the nukes, you don't have sovereignty. That is what it is. I want denuclearization across the board. But without nukes, look at what's going on in your country, you know? Okay, give nukes to Poland. Sure, go ahead. Give them to Poland. Great. Probably play a role in stopping the fucking Russian invasion. r/Marxist culture 9 months ago. Hasanabi doctrine. A guide for nation building. Get one, nukes. Rule number 1, get nukes. Rule number 2, do not give up your nukes. Rule number 3, if you're accused of having nukes, drop everything immediately and find some nukes. What does rule number 3 imply? What is going on in Iran right now? Countries that were accused of having nukes and then successfully dropped everything and found nukes. North Korea. Country that is not currently lit on fire. North Korea. Countries that were accused of having nukes that dropped everything and did not find some nukes. Libya. What is happening in Libya? Open slave markets. Open air slave markets. That's it. Rule number 3 is the current rule number, or another one, WMDs. Iraq. No WMDs. You didn't have WMDs. America claimed you had it. Look where you're at now. For the past 3 decades, Iran has played ball with the International Atomic Council and has tried to cooperate and has only been fucked over as a direct consequence of trying to fucking cooperate with America, and by way of America, Israel. And what has it gotten in return? Nothing. Death, destruction, economic starvation, instability. Why the fuck shouldn't they have nukes, man? What are we talking about? Of course, they should have gotten nukes years ago. John Mersheimer believes, and I agree with him on this, that if Iran had nukes, the region would be more stable, and I unironically believe him. I agree with him. I don't agree with him on everything, but on this one, I do agree with him. Dramatic attack in the Iranian capital. Our planes attacked a total of 4 targets: the Ministry of Defense, the nuclear headquarters, nuclear laboratories, and oil facilities. Peace to our planes. Yeah. Think about it this way. Look at India and Pakistan. Why didn't they actually go to full-throated battle? Why didn't they go through the full-blown battle? YNET reports that 1 person has been killed in a new Iranian missile strike on Tamra, a town near Haifa in northern Israel. No religious state should have nukes, but I guess America is its own religion, not gonna lie. What do you mean no religious state should have nukes? Israel has nukes. Israel has the highest nuke density per capita in comparison to every other country on the planet. Israel has more nukes per population than any other fucking country on the planet. And yes, you're right. America is also a religious country, and they still have their own version of nukes. By this estimation, the only country that should have nukes is the USSR and fucking China. And yes, I agree. So there you go. I guess technically India as well, but not Pakistan. Literally, what countries that are nuclear superpowers are that's wrong. The Vatican has 3 nukes. Yeah, North Korea, Democratic People's Republic of Korea should have nukes, not religious, okay? CCP, not religious. China should have nukes. I guess India is technically secular. That's the claim. So I guess they get to have one. France also, even though India has gone super Hindu nationalism, so I don't know how secular they are still. America is not a fucking secular nation, okay? Miss me with that bullshit. America's religion is the most damaging one. It's capitalism. America has a fucked up ass. Tehran is burning, says Israel Katz. Yemeni leadership strike has failed. Breaking: Israel's assassination attempt of a senior leader in Yemen failed. Mohammed al-Gamari, chief of staff of Ansarullah in Yemen, has survived the Israeli operation to kill him. According to reports, he is alive and well. This is a dumb statement. Don't bother. I like that. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, minor blip, mini F. Classic. We gotta have some mini Fs. I'm Israel high. 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 Please. I'm Israel high. I'm Israel high. Please give me back my internet. I'm so sorry. What the fuck is happening, bro? It's not working. It worked? Did it work? I don't think so. This was the longest, extended minor F sequence of all time. All right. We are going to have to see how bad the delay is, and then I'm going to have to probably fix the ingest. All right, everybody. In order to figure out how bad the delay is, press 1 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6-second delay. It's not that bad. Maybe 7 for some, 8 to 10 for others. Okay, big. Okay, for that delay is pretty significant. All right, we're going to test the delay. The only other way to know, if you haven't subscribed right now, subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service, PBS. This is how we test it with your Twitch Primes. Subscribe now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, it's coming in now. All right. 11 seconds. Stream delay is an inside job. Nope, that's an 11-second to 15-second delay. All right. This means I'm going to have to hit a quick mini F to fix the ingest. By the time you hear me, the F will come. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we're back. It blipped at 11. Jake Tapper never does this. All right, in order to find out if the delay is not that significant, subscribe now. Subscribe now. Twitch Prime's free. $6 a month subscription. And we shall see if the delay is gone. Let's say double dip, baby. Okay, seems like a massive delay here. All right, let's get back to it.
To collapse the whole establishment in Tehran.
And today we're seeing a new the energy infrastructure. So where does it end?
Well, hitting this is just adding to the effort to collapse the state. I mean, whenever state doesn't have energy, the state is infrastructure is hit. Whenever there is war, I mean, you're turning the state into a failed state. But the issue is that with the Iranians, I mean, regardless of the unproportional attacks, because the Israelis, they have the
Wait, I was brought up on subway takes?
So what's your take? Every country... So what's your take? Every country should have one nuclear bomb.
100% disagree. I think that's
How
an
many bombs
awful
do you think
idea.
they should have?
0.
Oh, well, that's good too. I would obviously prefer that. But if they're going to have any, it should just be one.
You're not saying you're pro-nuclear bomb. You're saying
No.
you just want to limit the amount that are available.
If every country has one,
Okay.
we know you have one. So if you use it, then you're like, we're defenseless. We got no bombs and everyone knows it. And also, you're kind of a jerk.
I don't know. I think that having any nuclear bombs is a bad idea.
Oh, totally. There's 12,469 out there right now. I'm in the last 3 digits up. And there's only 195 countries. So I'm here coming on your show to say, let's take out 11,800 of those bombs.
Okay, I get what you're saying. You're saying right now there are too many.
Oh, there's way too many.
And you don't want to go to 0 because that's not realistic.
Yeah, like, you know how people are like, don't take away my guns. Well, if everyone has one gun, actually, that'd be a bad example. Don't print that.
Do you think that if everyone had one bomb, the world would be a safer place?
Absolutely. There wouldn't be any bullies in the world, right? Wait, you disagree with me, Kareem? Don't tell me you disagree with me.
I like evening the playing field. I think that's a nice...
Thank you. So you 100% agree.
But I think that there should be none.
I do too. I agree with you.
No, you think that every country should have one. I think every country should have none.
Well, yeah, but that's not going to get the internet talking, is it? Hey, I think there should be peace. Everyone's going to be like, yeah, you idiot, of course. But, come on, just one bomb. That's all I'm saying. Is that bad? Am I going to get in trouble? Could have started the whole series with this take and you would have gotten viral right away. But it's all right. Actually, yeah, I'll get off next, I think.
I agree.